So core muscles are also really important when participating in sports. So in water polo, your core muscles can help to keep you afloat, because obviously you can't put your feet on the floor because that's part of the rules, and it's also really important when you're trying to tackle the ball out of another player's hand. This could be one of the fitness tests that they need to improve on, although it is in the average category and there's nothing wrong with that. There is room for improvement, and improvement will improve their general sporting ability. So, yes. Next is ways to improve your muscular endurance. So, muscular endurance can be used with either interval or circuit training, and I also need to include continuous training in there. So for the abdominals in particular, Pilates and abdominal exercises can help to strengthen the abdominal muscles. So some of these include crunches, planks, bicycle crunches, and scissor legs. These are really important because they work your abdominals, they work your frontal abdominals and your obliques, which are at the side of your abdominals. So I would do these exercises 2 to 3 times a week, and I'd start off by doing 4 scissor legs in reps of 5 or 6. So scissor legs are where you curl your upper body while laying on your back on the floor, and you bring one leg up while the other leg goes towards the floor. You need to make sure both your legs are straight, and then you switch your legs so the other leg comes up and the other leg goes towards the floor. However, you need to make sure that your leg doesn't touch the floor. Next are bicycle crunches, and I recommend doing 10 of these in 5 or 6 reps. Bicycle crunches are shown in this picture, where you curl your upper body and you reach your elbow to the opposite knee. This works your internal and external obliques and your central abdominals. The next I would recommend doing are 4 double leg raises. So this is where you lay on your back and you bring both your legs straight up towards you and then all the way back down as far as you can. However, you need to make sure that there is no arch in your lower back, and you need to make sure your back is pressed flat against the floor. So as soon as your back arches, you then have to lift your legs back up. Even if you only move your legs a really small bit at the start, if you do 4 double leg raises in 3 reps, you'll start to see a difference where you can control your legs lower down. And lastly, I would recommend doing 20 seconds worth of planking for 3 reps. When you do a plank, it's really important to make sure your body is flat and that your bottom doesn't stick up in the air, because this then doesn't use your abdominals. Doing a plank will also help to improve your muscular endurance in your shoulders and your upper arms. Next is the ball toss. So for the ball toss, I again put my participants' scores into a bar chart, and you can see here, so my participants scored 13, 16 and 12, so we used her top result, which was 16, and I placed it in the normative data. So 16 puts my participant in the fair category, which is also known as below average. So this is one of my participants' main weaknesses that they need to work on. It means that they have poor coordination, which could affect them in game situations. So my participants said that they'd like to participate in water polo, and this could affect the way that they throw and catch the ball between their teammates. But there's always room for improvement, and the next slide will be ways to improve. Hand-eye coordination is also really important in everyday life, so an improvement in it will just make it easier. So ways to improve coordination, you can do this by doing circuit training. I'd recommend circuit training the most. So some ways to improve it are skipping. Skipping helps to develop your feet, hand and eye coordination. So you will see when the rope goes over your head, and then your eyes and your brain will then tell you when you need to jump. So this will help to improve your coordination. So I'd recommend 5-minute bursts of skipping and repeating this 2 times. I would do this about 2 to 3 times a week as well. Juggling can also help to develop your hand-eye coordination, because you have to coordinate 3 different balls at one time between your hands. Balance is also linked to coordination, so doing balancing can help with coordination. So balance is linked to quite a lot of fitness components, so having a good balance can also help to improve other fitness components. So I'd recommend doing a leg lift at around 90 degrees. So you stand on one leg with your foot flat on the floor, and then you lift your leg to around a 90-degree angle, or as high as you can get it comfortably with your legs straight. You then try and hold this position for as long as you can. If you feel yourself falling, try and figure out which way you're falling. So if you feel like you're falling backwards, then you can try and shift your weight slightly forwards. It may take a couple of times to get a comfortable position and understand how much you need to shift your weight, but I would repeat this 2 times, so 2 reps. The next is the ruler test drop. So again, I put my participant scores. So first result was 9 centimetres, second result was 15 centimetres, and the third was 11. So we used the best score, which was 9 centimetres, so that puts her in the above average category. So this again is one of her main strengths, and it's important in racing and sporting games. So reaction time could be one of the main factors that determine whether your team or whether you win a race or a game. So in water polo, you have a player who tries to reach the ball first, so they, as soon as the game begins, they swim off as fast as they can to try and receive the ball. So reaction time can be really important for that. It can also be really important if they're swimming along and then their teammate decides to throw the ball to them, to pass the ball to them. They need to have a quick reaction time to be able to receive the pass correctly. Some ways to improve reaction time include sprint and dive starts. So you can repeat each of these tasks 5 times and then have a 5-minute break and then repeat 5 more times. So for 2 reps. This helps to improve your reaction time because you're listening out for when you have to go, so when you have to engage. Another one is shown in this picture up here. So an assessor or a friend or somebody who you can use, a significant other, stands in front and they have 2 balls. They have 1 tennis ball in their right hand and 1 tennis ball in their left hand. So the participant stands facing their friend with their hands behind their back and their knees bent. Their friend will then randomly drop one of the tennis balls and they must try and catch it as fast as they can. Most of the time you must let the ball hit the floor, bounce and then catch it. However, sometimes if your reaction time is quick enough, you can catch it before it drops and hits the floor. If you repeat this 10 times and then rest for 5 minutes again and then repeat it for another 10 times, I would start off doing 2 reps and then I would build it up to more. And then lastly, there's another way to improve reaction time, and this is where your friend now stands behind you. You're in the same position, but the friend holds a ball in either their left or right peripheral vision, and as soon as the participant sees the ball, they have to tap it as fast as they can. Now for the wall sit, I again put my participants' results in a table. So they scored 47, 53 and 50. And again with sit-ups, when they repeated these three, the changes in scores could be due to the fact that they repeated them even with breaks in between. Another thing is if they knew that they had to do 3 repeats of it, they may have held back the first time or the first couple of times so that they didn't feel too tired the second and the third time. So we took my participants' high score, which was 53, and we put it into the normative data tables. So 53 for a female was very good. So this is another one of her main strengths, which is really important, meaning that she has a good muscular endurance for the lower legs. This is really important in everyday life because if you do lots of walking, it means you won't get fatigued as easily. It's also really important in gameplay, in water polo, because one of the rules is to not put your feet on the floor. So it's really important that they keep doing the, as I call it, the bicycle kick to make sure that their feet don't touch the floor. And with a really low lower leg muscular endurance, they will struggle to keep themselves up and out of the water, and they'll also struggle to then move along the pool. So some ways to improve muscular endurance are to do interval, circuit or weight training. I would suggest doing weighted squats, and when you first start doing weighted squats, I would suggest starting with around 2.5 kilograms or 5 kilograms, because it puts less strain on the muscles. However, when you do become more comfortable, you can then slowly increase the weight by, I would say, 2.5 kilos or 5 kilos each time. You can also use resistance bands instead of weights if you don't have them. So you can tie a resistance band around your quads like here and then do a squat. This will put resistance on your muscles, and that will also help to improve the strength and endurance of them. Another weighted thing you could do is lunges, and again I would use 2.5 kilos or 5 kilos to start. For both of these exercises, I would do 10 of the squats and then 10 of the lunges. I would then have a break, and I'd do it for 2 to 3 reps, depending how comfortable the participant feels. However, they can then increase this when they feel more comfortable. The last way to improve muscular endurance of the lower body, including the legs, are to lay on your back with either a foam roller, but if you don't have a foam roller, a water bottle, kitchen roll, something in a cylindrical shape. You place this under your lower leg, so around the middle of the thigh or slightly lower towards the knee. You then extend your leg with a pointed toe, and this helps to contract your quadricep, and it also helps to not put the pressure and the strain on your hip flexor, because a lot of the time when working with your quadriceps, people then grip their hip flexors, which then results in them not fully improving their endurance and muscular strength of their quadriceps.